What's up? What's up? WSSU Ram Nation. What's going on, everybody? I'll give folks a couple minutes to get in. But welcome to today's show, podcast, conversation, whatever you want to call it. We'll call it a conversation because I do want this to be a conversation between myself and the rest of WSSU Ram Nation and any of our CIAA cousins, our HBCU hombres, or just people who have happened to stumble upon this channel. Um, my name is Stephen J. Gaither. I am a 2009 graduate of Winston-Salem State University and founder of HBCU Game Day. So please make sure you guys are supporting that platform as well. And this is WSSU Ram Nation, though, where we focus in on WSSU athletics and as well as the university as a whole. Thank you for everyone who is subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We are now at 804 members, subscriptions, whatever you want to call it. So, thank you for everybody who has, decided to click that button. It's a small thing that goes a long way. Also, since you've done that already, please go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the algorithm and things as well as we continue to try to work on growing this out. And we're almost at the point of monetization, which I'll go ahead and talk about that just really quickly. This channel is not monetized. It is something that I just felt like it was a place that there needed to be more conversation about Winston-Salem State University. The good things, talk about some of the things that need to be improved upon, but just a place for discussion outside of the normal means. And so that is where I come in, and that is where you all come in. Thanks for everybody that has hit us up. Dr. Carolyn Anderson, as always, thank you so much for everything that you have done for Winston-Salem State University, as well as other HBCUs, including your alma mater, who I was at their game yesterday, and they did get the W. But I was talking about where we are in terms of the channel, 804 members, subscriptions, Ramily, if you will. So I'm super excited about that. Close to being able to be monetized. But, I'll be honest with you, this is a labor of love because it is Winston-Salem State University specific. It's going to take a while for it to become something financially that is sustainable. Right now, it's a passion project. So we are looking for sponsors to sponsor this type of content, to sponsor this type of discussion. So if you've got a RAM business and you need, exposure, we're always creating content. It does take a lot of time, a lot of research, and a lot of effort to do this. And so, but I thank you to all who have endeavored, or just reach out to me and let me know ways that you can support the channel. I definitely would appreciate that. But with that being said and done, thanks to D Middle 28. I'm not sure if that's Mr. Middleton, but thank you so much for your support as well. And let's get into it, guys. So again, this is the first WSSU Ram Nation episode of 2026. And this year, I want this to be a lot more interactive. I want this to be feel a part of, like I said, really more of a conversation than anything else. I don't necessarily need to be on here just spewing my thoughts and opinions, which y'all know me by now. I'm going to do that. That's just what I'm going to do. But I would also love this for this to continue to be a dialogue. So I am going to, if anybody wants to come up and say something, or there's a question or something that they want to address, the chat is always open. But I'm also going to open up I'm also going to allow people to come up and just kind of give it a different dynamic this year. So yeah. So let's see. I think you should see the link. There's the link. If anybody wants to come up, anybody wants to say anything, has a question, a comment, wants to tell me I'm wrong, whatever, we're going to be civil, but we're going to have a good Ram time as always. All right. So we are now in 2026, but let's rewind a little bit back to 2025. If you guys remember, if you've been following this channel long enough, you remember that I told you this time last year, I told you that 2025 was going to be a transformative year for WSSU athletics, and it most certainly was. There was a lot of change, and we'll get to that in just a second. But from the start of the year to the beginning of the year. When I told you guys that last year, I wasn't just spewing my thoughts and my opinion. I talk to people. I try to do my best to keep my ear to the street. Sometimes when I get into a room, sometimes people stop talking because they think I'm just going to put everything out on Front Street that I know. I don't tell everything that I know, but I do think it's important to know what's going on and to be an unfiltered voice, and that's kind of what this has turned out to be. So anyway, I knew that Tanya Lamont was going to be retiring as the head women's basketball coach. So I knew that was going to be a change. I also knew, like I talked about at the beginning of the year, our football coach, Robert Massey, as well as Etienne Thomas, our AD, their contracts were up in 2026. And so I'm in 2025. And so, I knew this was going to kind of be a make or break year for that situation as well. And so, I just felt like it was very important to kind of let you guys know that, that's what this is. I'm not here to just, of course, I love WSSU. I want WSSU to be doing amazing. I want everything to go great. But I also want this to be something that it gets people prepared for what's coming along, for what is coming next. And so with that being said, this is definitely just I knew it was going to be a transformative year, and it was. Obviously, we saw the transition for not only AD Etienne Thomas, but as well for our head coach Robert Massey, and we wish both of them well as they move on to their next endeavors. And so, but the show must go on. We knew that was going to happen. In April, we got our new head women's basketball coach, Tiara Terry. What she has meant to this program has been nothing short of amazing already. She came in with credentials, and so super excited to see what she would bring. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. Those Lady Rams are red hot, and they're on the verge of making some really big history. And I think it's important to highlight. Man, the chat's going crazy, and it's just me. So give me a second. Let me just I'm trying to stay on point. But let's have again. Is it me, or does the men's team need to learn to play as a team? And we're gonna talk about that. There's that. All right, got the middle there. Zoe, what up? What up? Appreciate you. Yeah, the chemistry is just. We'll see what's going on with that. We're gonna come back to that in just a second. Just want to have that. Yep, happy Friday. Be sure to hit those buttons. And yeah, change is definitely looking good in women's basketball. But and then we got to the summer, and we were kind of waiting to see what was gonna go on with that football season. We're coming off a 7-3 season, and I said it right here on this channel, and it ended up being said by the head coach himself, championship or bust, right? Meaning if we didn't win a championship, it's going to be time to blow up and start over. Like a lot of people, I spent my money again. I spent my money to roll down to Alabama to support the football program as they got ready to take on Tuskegee. And that kind of set the tone for a season. It was one of those almost doesn't count, in the words of Brandy. So we saw the football program take a step back, 4-6, kind of what we had seen prior to the year before. Before the season ends, we see that there's a change at the AD slot. Etienne Thomas resigns after the Johnson C. Smith loss, our third year in a row losing to Johnson C. Smith. And then after the season's over with, another heartbreaking loss to Fayetteville State. What is that, like the sixth time in 7 years? So it's a tough end to the season, but Coach Massey resigned as well. And our chancellor, Benita Brown, I want to give a big shout out to her because she has she's come in, she came in kind of with all this stuff in flux. She kind of gave herself some time to get to the lay of the land, but we see the pieces moving, and she made it clear to the supporters that she wanted to have this hire done quickly. Not that it was going to be rushed, but she wanted it to be quickly based off the timing of everything. And, true to her word, she wanted to have a head coach hire by the time we got into December. And lo and behold, first week of December, Board of Trustees meeting, and we get one of our own legends to come home, Tori Woodbury, our new head coach. Still super excited about that. I'll be honest with you. Again, I've said this. I've had him on my eye on him as our head coach for a couple of years now, and just kind of keeping, following up with him and everything that he's been doing in his career. I see him at Howard. I see him at Morgan State. I see him at Norfolk State. But I'm just like, man, we got to bring that Ram home, and we did. And I'm so happy and I'm so excited. Just his press conference was amazing. If you guys haven't seen the video from that, please do. Please make sure you guys go and check in on that. But since then, seeing him at basketball games, showing up there and just being a presence and cheering on the basketball program, men's and women's, as they are doing their thing. And so, yeah, it's just great to have the head football coach be a face for what it is you guys are doing. Be out there and let people, know him, talk to him, interact with him, and everything like that. The staff is coming together. Obviously, folks are in the middle of their grind with recruiting, so some of the names came out. Full staff has not been put out yet, so we'll see what that's like. I know a lot of people are eagerly anticipating that. And I think there's just a lot of energy around WSSU, and it's great to have that around the football program, and for it to not be nervous energy at some point. So let me just kind of click through these. Again, no moderators right here. Dr. Anderson on it as always. Lady Rams, and yep. Okay, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that, Lance. We're gonna get to that. Anyway, again, a lot of excitement around that, and so we know our football coach. We don't know our football schedule yet. I'm very interested in seeing when that schedule is going to be rolled out. We have seen already Virginia State put out their schedule just, I think, over the Christmas break. And so, through that, we learned some things that kind of confirms some things that we already know. We do know one date of one of our games. So that's good, right? We're going to be playing Virginia State once again. This time it's going to be in Petersburg. I mean, air trick. We're going to be playing Virginia State there again. I believe it's a day game, so they can't turn the lights out on us, I think. They didn't do it last time, and we won the game. So, but anyway, that's one game that we know. But what we also know is with the change taking St. Aug from the CIAA, we also had a shift in the schedule. So our schedule's been pretty predictable for most of the last decade, if not even longer than that. Almost since we came back to the CIAA, first couple of weeks non-conference, then you get into your crossover games against the Northern Division, and then you would go on and play your string of games in the South. We knew that Fayetteville State was going to be the last game every year. We knew that St. Aug was going to be the next to the last game every year until they were no longer with us. And then we knew we were going to play Johnson C. Smith. We knew we were going to have Shaw and then Livingstone. But now things have been shaken up, which I think is a great thing. There are no more divisions in the CIAA. We saw the two Northern Division teams got there the year before, but that was because things were uneven, because that was because of the subtraction of St. Augustine's. It made the divisions unequal, and then everybody didn't have the same number of CIAA games, which is why we have recalibrated, and we are now in a position to where the CIAA schedule has been redone. So 1 week we might be playing a Northern Division team, and the next week we might be playing a Southern Division team. So based off what we do know, based off the Virginia State schedule, and let me see if I can't pull that up while we're on here. We definitely need, I can talk about this while we're pulling up. We definitely need to support Tori Coach Woodbury, and the program. We have to. Like, there's no way around it. Again, I've talked about it before. We're at WSSU. We have a great legacy. We have 12 CIAA championships, tied for the most amongst the HBCUs that are still in the CIAA. But we're in a new day, right? People aren't just coming to school to Winston-Salem State just because it's a great school. Unfortunately, they're not. At least athletes who have a choice, right? With this new day of the portal and NIL, I'm hearing reports that some CIAA teams are paying players, which is legal now. So they, players are getting compensated. We not gonna be able to roll out with this big ram on our chest to say, yeah, we went to Salem State. You want to come to play with us. We're gonna have to, do some compensation. We talk about it as we talk about subtractions, and I'm getting back to basketball in a little bit, but let's stay on football. We lost 2 guys to the transfer portal. There's several others that are in there, but 2 guys got to go to Division I, and that was already one strike. Let's have a real conversation about this. That was already one strike against us that we weren't Division I, and I get why we weren't, and why. I get why we weren't, and there we go. Super important right there. I get why we weren't Division I, but so if a player wanted to come to WSSU, they had to be okay with being D2. But most players that they grow up dreaming of playing Division I football. Obviously, it's not going to be for everybody, but for those who can, that opportunity exists there now with that transfer portal year to year, and with the caveat also being that teams are paying players. So we had Dalen Lee. Enter the transfer portal, our quarterback, who's our second all-time leading passer. Traditionally, things will go our way. He would be coming back, building off what we've had the last couple of years with him. We'd be building off of that. We'd be getting ready to try to win that CIAA championship and cement his legacy along with the Tory Woodburys, along with the Cam Smiths. However, it's a new day, right? And so, not only does the allure of playing Division I football, but also making money. So, more than ever, all of that saying, and also his teammate Caleb Washington, his wide receiver, he is going to, I believe it's one of the directional Tennessees. I think it's Middle Tennessee State. Alonzo, let me know if I'm wrong, but he's going to be playing Division I ball, getting some type of package. I know that Tennessee State does have an NIL capacity, and eventually, there are going to be teams in D2. Again, there are some teams that are going to be compensating guys, not a lot, but more than nothing. So that is the reality of the situation. That's the reality of the situation. I know that we talked about, I know Chancellor Brown, and I will say Chancellor Brown and interim AD Burns were very transparent when they talked with the Horns about the importance of getting to a full scholarships and where we were. So the last year, Coach Massey and his squad had 32 scholarships. The max in Division I is 36. There are some CIAA teams that have 36. Not all of them, but there are some that do. And so not all of them, but there are some of them that do. And so we definitely got to get up to that scholarship max. Again, it's D2. Not everybody's going to be getting a full ride, but if we want to keep our better players, we're going to have to come up with with ways to make it worth their while, because a lot of our student athletes at the Division II level are paying to play. And while that's great and admirable, if anybody could play and not have to worry about that, that's an absolute game changer. So thank you guys for rocking with me again. Please hit the thumbs up wherever you are. Share this too as well if you're on Facebook. For sure. So right. So both of them will be in Tennessee. Dalen Lee is going to be at Tennessee State, and Washington is going to be at UT Martin. So both of those are FCS schools. So yeah, you know, we until you know. So what we can do right now is figure out. I think they said $200,000 was what would be needed to get to full 30, the max of scholarships in Division II. So hey, there's a link out there for that. Let me share the Virginia State schedule just so you guys can kind of see what scheduling is going to look like moving forward in the CIAA. So Virginia State, again, 10-game season still. They're going to start off against Barton College. Then they're going to go up against Bowie State. Now, traditionally, that's a Northern Division game. Bowie would say it's a rivalry game. I don't know that Virginia State would say it's a rivalry game, but it's a game that's usually later in the season. Sometimes it's their homecoming. Well, right now that's September 5th, so that shows you, we could be in for a situation where we're playing a Johnson C. Smith earlier, and I say Johnson C. Smith. We'll talk about that in a second. Then they're going to play South Carolina State, the defending HBCU national champs, Celebration Bowl winners. I have my understanding that this game was actually scheduled a couple years out. So this wasn't like they said, hey, we're going to go play the champs. But what happened was Virginia State usually plays Norfolk State in their FCS money game. But that wasn't going to happen. And so they went ahead and got this game. So kudos to them. Then they're going to play Elizabeth City, which is another game that they're going to play Elizabeth City, which is another game that's traditionally a divisional game. And then they play us on the 26th. The time is TBA. That's going to be really interesting. I'm guessing everything's going to be TBA until the TV schedule comes out, HBCU Go, and all of that. Everything's going to probably be TBA. And then once they figure out what games are going to be on TV, then we'll get the times there. I'm thinking there's probably a good chance that WSSU and VSU will be on HBCU Go. I don't have any inside information. That's just my speculation. Since the last 2 years, the two teams have played 1-point wins for the road team. So we'll see. Then October 3rd, they got another Northern Division team, and then in Lincoln, and then their homecoming opponent is going to be Livingstone on October the 10th. Then they have Shaw, then they have Johnson C. Smith, and then they finish with Virginia Union. So as you guys can see, the CIAA has they've really changed up the way that schedules are going to be done. So again, I said Johnson C. Smith earlier. If you look at Johnson C. Smith, they are we usually would play them on this weekend, the last weekend of October. However, it looks like we won't have that slot. So it's going to be very interesting. Yep. November 11th, November 7th. I love it. Personally, I love a November homecoming. I know we had the 9th a couple years ago. I was a little worried about that. You never know. That's always the fear with the November homecomings. But we had some damn good weather that weekend. Of course, I love it when it's near my birthday, which is November 2nd. I can celebrate my birthday and homecoming because I don't do nothing wrong anyway. So anyway, it's definitely going to be interesting. Yes. I will go back to something that Dr. Anderson said earlier, and that was that we are trying to get another home game. Yeah, that would be great. A money game would be good too. I'm just going to be real. Our scholarship numbers did go up when we started playing those money games against that team from Durham. So I don't know what's going to be available. I know the school in East Greensboro, they're going to start their season with Morgan State. I mean, it's HBCU, it's a former MEAC school. They're not going to sell out like they would when they're playing us. But hey, their schedule, not our problem. I have not seen the schedule for North Carolina Central. We know obviously that South Carolina State is going to be playing Virginia State. So it doesn't leave a lot of room. I do think that Hampton's schedule has not been put out there yet. So who knows? But very interesting. Now, I will say it's still January. So this is around the time you want to start getting your schedule out, because last year, and I made a big stink about this, but I no qualms about it. I'll make the big stink again. We definitely last year we didn't get our schedule till April, and even then we only had 4 home games. And by the grace of God, we got 10 because Limestone College ended up getting shut down, and their game against Mars Hill became open, and Mars Hill came back. It's interesting that we're trying to get another home game. I would think that the Mars Hill game would be a home and a home, considering we bailed them out last year. And I know at one point we were scheduled to play Albany State, but we're going to see what happens with that program as well. So who knows? Hopefully we'll know soon, though, because the thing about it is you want to get that schedule out there as early as possible. Virginia State is a program that they do a good job of that. Some programs don't do a great job of that, and we haven't done a great job of it. The earlier you get it, the more people can plan around what they're going to do, because people have options with their days and times as far as, what that looks like. So, we've got some work in that regard. Here we go from Dr. Anderson. Challenge for football fans. Players to give at least 100 football by the spring game, using the saying we had when Maynard was in the playoff. I believe I'm challenging at least 1,000 Rams. I'm with it. I don't know that we need the same slogan that we had before. I think they got a pretty good one now. But I'll be honest, I like protect the legacy too, and we kind of saw how that worked out. But either way, whatever the slogan is, I think it's very important. Again, if we want a winning program, we're going to have to support it, which at a minimum means buying season tickets. Even if you don't live in Winston, you can't go to every game. I think there's going to be some things that they're going to be doing to help supplement that. But buy those season tickets. And if you go to homecoming and another game, you basically got your value out of it. But this is something that's going to be important. Also, too, as we transition, and guys, we are going to get to basketball, but as we transition, we'll also talk about our AD situation. So we did go ahead and hire our head football coach, Tori Woodbury, prior to the announcement of the AD, which I was all for. It made sense. We had to get that done quicker. The quicker, the better. Some schools, Bowie State. I'm sorry, did I say that? Bowie State? They don't have a coach right now. And so it's imperative that we want to be ahead of the game. So anyway, so we have that. So now we have the AD search. And we have currently serving as interim. We have Tim Burns. He was hired as a CFO last year. We talked about him previously, so I won't go into super detail, but he's the interim. I see him a lot. He's very active, and he's got a history in fundraising, which is important. Again, money is always right there at the forefront of one of the things that we need. And so he's in charge right now, in charge of the ship. But it's going to be the process for getting a director of athletics is going to be a bit different. We are going to not only have a search committee, but we're also going to use a search firm, which is going to go through vet candidates. Maybe they'll seek out some candidates as well, which I think is a really good feature about a search firm, and pick up and help us. And then they're going to pass that off to the committee. The committee was sent out in an email. You're going to have some special advisors like Bill Hayes. You're going to have Tim Grant, former WSSU basketball player and coach, longtime contributor. You're going to have some other folks as well if you see the list of names that's out there. They are going to be helping pick our next director of athletics. Because ultimately, the job and the position is chosen by the chancellor. And so, we had previous searches where a recommendation was made and the chancellor didn't follow it. Yeah, so we've had that happen before, but we'll see. I think they're being very strategic about it. The goal, I understand, is for them to have the hire solidified by April. So, I definitely like that they're taking their time with it. I definitely like they're being thoughtful about it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want in an AD. I have my list. Everybody, I think, that cares about WSSU athletics has their list. But let me know what you want in the chat. And please, if anybody wants to come up, and say something, shout out to Alonzo and Dr. Anderson for holding down the chat. But if anybody wants to come up and say something, the door is open. I will open that up again. Again, this is a conversation. And yep. Point being, buy your Ram tickets. Now the school's got to make it easy for us to do it. We need to be able to buy these Ram tickets, specifically our season tickets, online, and the sooner the better. Again, so that gets back to the schedule. But while we're in this change in leadership, it's just going to be fascinating. I think for me, when I think about the position of director of athletics, just in the line of work that I'm in journalism with specifically HBCUs, I know how crucial that role is. From picking, helping pick and hire coaches to administrative work, to mediating disputes, to making decisions, taking control of the program, but also fundraising as well, and also in media strategy. That's another part of WSSU that's going to be important. What does this person see about the brand of WSSU? And for me, that is what is really important. And I made a kind of controversial Facebook post a couple of weeks ago. Let me know what you guys think. But I said that I would really like for us to consider, if not straight up hire, a millennial, right? Now, for those of you who don't know what a millennial is, or have misconstructions about that, those are people that are born between 1981 and 1996. I would be a millennial. I am a millennial, just turned 40. So we're not all test tube babies. We're not Gen Z. We often get mixed up with them sometimes, but we are adults. We are adults with families. I have a daughter. A lot of my peers have children. Some of them are older. Some of them are getting towards that college age. Some of them have younger children, which also takes up a lot of time, a lot of their resources, money-wise as well. But I think so I said that it needed to be a millennial. I'm not super, need to be a millennial. Maybe I was selling a little bit, but I do think that they need to be able to reach millennials and plan for the millennial generation, simply because most of WSSU alumni are millennials. That's a fact. You can go look it up. So at some point, while of course, much love to the baby boomers, they're holding it down. They're loving their passion for WSSU. In my experience, is unquestioned. They are the ones that have been there since they've experienced WSSU becoming a powerhouse, not only in basketball, but football as well. And so, they've been, financially supportive. They're the ones that pull up to the games during the year. So shout out to the baby boomers for the excellent work that they have done and continue to do for WSSU and WSSU athletics. But we also have Gen X. Both our men's basketball coach and our football coach, Tori Woodbury, they're both in that Gen X, age range. So, I mean, for me right now, it's really the ball is in their court. And I know one of our alumni who likes to stay in the background, but he does a lot of things for WSSU. A personal friend of mine, Corey Williams, he's in that Gen X too, and he's been really great and instrumental in this process. And so, again, not to be, any age is not always the issue, but I do think we got to look statistically where we are. Millennials are our future. We are the highest number, so it's important that they figure out how to engage millennials. Not only just getting them to games, but also getting them to give as well. Some of us do have some really deep pockets. Some of us. So it's going to be interesting. But I do think it needs to be someone who for sure knows how to make it a priority to connect with the millennials and then ultimately the Gen Zs, because, we got to keep this thing moving forward. You can only buy tickets online, and Park can also be on the lookout for a new advertisement strategy. Well, look, Dr. Anderson has it in the know. Yes, and that brings me to this point. And I wrote the story earlier this week, and after I made my tweet, it was like, wow, this is in practice. Lane College in Tennessee is a private HBCU. They're in the SIC Division II. They hired a 29-year-old as their director of athletics. His name is Jeremy Anderson, and he's a former football player and coach, but he's also got a fundraising background. And so, I think it's definitely a situation. You don't want to just be checking off boxes. You don't want to just hire somebody, but I think that it's a position that's going to take a lot of energy, a lot of engagement. I think we also need, as you say right here, Alonzo, a bridge builder, alumni, students, and community. Just be able to do that, and we're good. I think that is definitely there. I also think, in my humble opinion, I think we need someone who's worked at the Division I level. I think we need someone who has worked at the Division I level, who has seen things done at a higher level, and been involved in that in some regard. I think that's just important. We have a brand. I think we have an underutilized. We have, without a doubt, the best brand in the CIAA, bar none. When you say CIAA, I know Virginia Union's hot right now. I know Virginia State has some money. I know Fayetteville State, they got some, the military and the NC Promise got them feeling like they're superpower, and they've been beating up on us in some sports. But when you say CIAA, Winston-Salem State is right at the tip of everybody's tongue in terms of the CIAA, given our pedigree with basketball, the multiple basketball Hall of Famers, all the NFL players that we produced, the run that we had to the NCAAs, our alumni, not only just on the field, but also when you talk about, you talk about a B-Dot, you talk about a Chico Bean, you talk about a Stephen A. Smith, all of these people, the Winston-Salem, Chris Paul, the Winston-Salem State brand is super strong, but I feel like in athletics, we haven't capitalized off it as much as we should or could. So I think we need to see have someone who sees the WSSU is a Division II institution with some of those constraints, but how can we rise above that? How can we make it feel so if somebody comes to WSSU, they're getting a Division I experience, even if they are at a Division II school? We've got the history, we got the pedigree, we've got the energy, we got the students, and we've got the people that know how to make this thing work. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what that's going to bring. I just think we need someone that's going to be able to think outside of the box. I'll go back to Virginia State again. Their AD, Tiffany Dawn Sykes, she did something that I think is really that needs to be noted. She reached out. She's an alumnus of the university, and this doesn't have to be an alumnus to me. I am hearing some really good names, though. Some names I'm having to do a little bit of research about, but I am hearing some really good names. They need to be someone who knows about our tradition, but isn't locked into doing things the way that we've always done them. I think that's super important too. I think we definitely are underutilizing ourselves in terms of branding and merchandise. I think, it's great that we got the Ram. It's nice, but and other people have said this as well. But I mean, just look at this. Literally, look at this. Win is in our name, right? So there should be, the opportunities are endless. The alumni that we have, and I think we need to tap into that base more. We're starting to do that with coaches. Hopefully, we can tap into that in terms of marketing, promotions, and telling the story of WSSU. Yep, there we go. We are not maximizing the brand. We got to, we're now. I've heard this from people that work at WSSU. Rams are different. We're Ram different, and we we love our university. Um, we love our university. We're passionate about it, and we love to share the good news and the pride. And so, and when we aren't happy about something, we generally let people know about it. So you got to have an AD that's got some thick skin, that isn't intimidated by that, but also isn't going to fight against it. They're going to figure out how to take that passion and transfer it into fundraising, into ticket sales, into more merchandising. That W, that W guys that we got, man, we got to use that more. I mean, just a straight up W. Um, there's so many things, and it just requires some out of the box thinking and figuring out how we can do things. As I was saying, Tiffany Dawn Sykes, what she did was she connected with another VSU alumnus, who has an apparel company and an apparel store called the Museum. And what they did was the museum sponsored their uniforms, right? Well, they didn't sponsor. I don't want to say, because the uniforms and everything is Under Armour, but they've got a partnership going on that just makes sense, and they're not letting the fact that they're a Division II school stop them. And I think for us, that's what we have to do, because our brand for sure is transcendent. So, all right, with all this said, let's get to some basketball. We're gonna get to the men first. We're gonna get to the men first, and that's not on any chauvinistic stuff. That's not on any. That's not on any. Anything like that. It's just, it's they got some work to do, and we want to end. We want to end on. We want to end on a really high note with the women. But let's pull up right now what we got right now in terms of men's basketball. So, um, let me grab that really quickly. Thank you so much for everybody who's tuning in. Please hit that button. Let us know in the comments who you are. If this is your first time on WSSU Ram Nation, and I really appreciate that. Thanks for joining on a Friday night with not a lot of notice. So let's get to it. So our men right now are 6-6. We started off against UNC. That went how you would think it would go. Played against East Stroudsburg University, a really good program, and it was lights out, 105-72. Then we also, over at Virginia State, we played against Shepherd University. Talking about an 11-point loss there. Got our first win against VUL. For those of you who don't know about VUL, VUL is not Division II. They're not in the NCAA. They're in this church league. And I don't say that derogatory. It literally is a National Christian Association something. They go to pretty much all of this. They'll go anywhere for a check to play somebody for a game. They take a lot of D1 game, and despite the fact that they're a Christian school, they take a lot of Division I games, and they usually get beat pretty bad. They're like, if you ever watched the Harlem Globetrotters back in the day, they're like the Washington Generals. So, but that was the first win. Keep that in mind. Then we went and played Wheeling University in West Virginia. 20-point loss there. Then we went and we came home and played Barton. I went to this game. This was the first game that I got a chance to go to. No, I went to the Lynchburg game, but I went to this game, and this was a tough game to watch. We lost this one by 13, And if I'm being honest, it felt like last year all over again. And if you know about last year, that ain't a good thing. So let's see. Ram. Yes, for the Evans. Um, yeah. Let's keep going. So then after that game, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know how much we've improved. Then we go to the Mount Olive game. The Mount Olive game was our first Division II win of the year. It's 2 points against University of Mount Olive on the road. That was the game that Tyree Boykin scored 48 points. And as amazing as those 48 points were, and we also got a really good effort from Abu Kamara, the big man. That was one of his better games. I think we got a third scorer as well. So Anthony Ray. And so it's like, okay, but man, if we got to do all this to get a 2-point win, what's it going to look like in the CIAA? Well, so we would find out shortly after. We were supposed to play Central Christian College, and that one was canceled. Another non-Division II, non-NCAA team that was canceled. So then we didn't play again for almost 2 weeks until we played Bowie State in Maryland. And hey, guys, I mean, this one right here, we got an 11-point conference win on the road in Bowie. Yeah, and this one right here was like, okay. We were picked to finish last in the CIAA men's wise. So it's like, okay, we got to win. We won't go winless. We won't have to wait till the last weekend to win. Then we get over to Lincoln, and we went up the road, and we got off to a good start and just fell apart. They were able to get it back together, and it was close at the end. Yeah. We got early, we got up, and then we kind of fell back. We took the lead on the Tyree Boykin 3, or I believe it was tied. But yeah, they hit a last second shot. The switch off came, and Abu was on the guard. The guard shook him, and so we got that loss. All right, so then we took on Mid-Atlantic Christian. Let's see. We took on Mid-Atlantic Christian. Mid-Atlantic Christian is an NAIA school, right? So they're not in the NCAA Division II either. Now the NAIA does have some really good teams, and so people will tell you that they're comparable. So, but that's what we did against Mid-Atlantic Christian. This is a game you like this. They won by 40+ points. Let's see what Mid-Atlantic Christian is looking like. Men's basketball. Let's kind of understand. So they have a win against South Carolina Christian, who we didn't play. They got a win against Central International College, which I don't think is NCAA either. They played against Hampton, and they lost by 60 points. They played against Washington Adventist, NAIA team, lost to them by 33. Canceled the game on Shaw. They played against Campbell, 108-55. They lost to Cheney, who is Division III, by 15. They played okay against North Carolina Central as well. If you look at the scores are kind of comparable there, actually. There's that, and against A&T. So that was the win against Mid-Atlantic Christian. Yeah, definitely MJ versus Russell. So yeah, and then let's go back to the Rams. Go back to minding our Ram business. Yeah. Then this was the game. This was a game right here I definitely want to talk about. I thought this was a game where I was like, okay, there's some potential here. We're playing Belmont Abbey, a Division II school. at WSSU, and we came, and it was a game where we were actually, it was actually close, and this was a game. Okay, well, there's no play-by-plays available. Yeah, well, you got to take my word for it. You just have to take my word for it on that one. Yeah, yep, 100, 100. So they got that win. I'm feeling like, okay, we turned the corner. And then they started the year against Virginia Union Lynchburg again. So when you had the South Carolina Christian game canceled, you had them canceled. And so if it's my understanding, the VUL, which was already set to play our women, said, hey, can we bring the guys along too? WSSU said, sure, why not? They only had 6 guys. They only had 6 guys, and they scored. They scored 75. They scored 76 points. We did break 100. We did break 100 for the first time in Coach Thompson's tenure. So that was a milestone there. Then we went home. Then we stayed home again. And we got a lot of home games right here. And we'll talk about the home games in a second. But Bluefield State, this was a game right here where we needed this win. Ain't no two ways about it. We needed this. We needed this win against Bluefield State, and we actually led in this game at halftime, 25-24. And let's see if I can get the stats here. Okay, we do. So we do have play-by-play for this game. So yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can pull this up. So kind of go back to where things went south. It was a 1-point game here. It's a 1 point. All right, and then you start to see a theme. 3-pointer by AF. Our defense on our rotations on defense were straight up horrible. It was a Ram shame. They were getting open. They were getting open at will, and they ended up winning this game mostly because of 2 things: their 3-point shooting. They had 12 3-pointers. They took 29 of them, but a lot of them, to be honest with you, were wide open, and a lot of them were wide open. And our defense, as Middle 28 said, our defense is struggles, struggle city. And if Tyree Boykin isn't cooking, we need some offense from somewhere. One guy I would like to see get a lot more playing time is Lance Gill. He's a guy. He's a leftover guy from the Coach Cleo Hill era, where he was a freshman on Cleo Hill's last year. But let's pull up the stats for our guys. Look, we're gonna do it. We're doing a deep dive here tonight, guys. So I hope you guys appreciate it. I hope you guys send me some emojis in the chat, drop some Rams in the chat, share this with folks. We actually shoot a pretty good percentage on the season. I will give us that. We shoot 47%. But from the field, 35 from the 3. Our free throws, 66%. Obviously, Tyree Boykin is our leading scorer, 20.8 points a game. And Abu Kamara, 9 points and 10.3 rebounds. He's got a little bit over a block per game. Kyle Ingram has been he's been a pleasant surprise for us offensively this year. He's averaging 9 points a game, shooting 56%. He's not really a 3-point shooter, but he's been providing some offense for us. Let's look at his last couple of games. Let's look at him. let's look at his season. The last couple of games, his minutes were kind of up and down a couple of weeks. But let's see. His last 3 games, he's been cooking. You averaging right around 15 points a game. Somebody do the math. 6 and 9, 7 for 12, 7 for 10. Um, yeah, getting you some rebounds. Not the most athletic guy in the world in terms of jumping out of the gym, but he's got good anticipation on the defensive end. You look at his steals numbers. He's having a sneaky good season. Yeah, he's having a sneaky good season. So, Ethan English, he is a senior guard, and he actually had been having good games the last couple of games. He against Mid Atlantic Christian, 14 points. Belmont Abbey he had 13 and 14 against them, shooting really good percentage. We didn't see him in the Bluefield State game. We probably needed to see him. So it'll be interesting to see. We got Isaiah Ray, who I think Isaiah Ray he's a guy that sometimes looks like maybe he could be the third guy. He had 15 in that Mount Olive game. But he's been kind of up and down, as has his minutes, but he's been kind of up and down. We got Masson Moore Bryant, young guard, but yeah, let's go to Lance Gill. Let's look at Lance Gill. Lance Gill, man, he has I remember Coach Hill talked to me about him in his freshman year. He said he was as good as a shooter as Rob Cologne, maybe even better. And that's a lot. That's high praise. This year his minutes haven't been great, but he's been able to score good amount of points in his minutes. He had you look over here, this stretch of games, Wheeling, Barton, Mount Olive, games that we didn't do that great in, and he didn't play a lot. But he had 16 he had 9 points in 16 minutes against Bowie State. He had, and then against Lincoln, he went back to not really getting a lot of minutes. Mid-Atlantic Christian, 10 points in 11 minutes. Belmont Abbey, 3 and 13. He had 12 points in 17 minutes against VUL and 11 points in 9 minutes against Bluefield State. What is he shooting for the year? He is shooting 44% from the field, but he's shooting 38% from the three. Not quite Tyree Boykin, but and Ethan English, but definitely coming on. So I like to see him get some more minutes. This is another guy I feel like I would like for us to get more out of him. But we haven't. So yeah, they 6'9", 205. You look at him and you're looking at him like, okay, this is a guy that a matchup problem potential, but I don't know. We got Jaden Thompson, starting guard. He's had some moments this season. Against Belmont Abbey. He had probably his best game of the year. 10 points, 4 assists. I will say he has cut down on the turnovers. That's good. We definitely need that. And then we got Isaiah Sutherland. I talked about him already. Yeah. And then we also have Dimitri Patterson, who's another new addition. He's out of that Fayetteville area. Of course, Coach Thompson is in that Fayetteville area, but he's started 12 games. You'd like to see more. You like to see 15 minutes a game. You like to see more out of him as well. And then some of the other guys as well. So, yeah, I know Alonzo's been on the chat. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how things change up. Am I frozen? Am I frozen? Let's see. Hold on 2 seconds. Can you guys still hear me? I think my photo may be give me 2 seconds, guys. I don't know what's going on with my camera. 1 second, guys. Let's see. All right, guys. All right, guys. Glad you guys can hear me. I'm not sure what's going on with the camera. Um, yeah. All right, but you guys can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Um, let me know if you can hear me now, guys. I'm gonna try to figure out what it was going on with the camera stuff. you just probably won't be able to see my face. I know that is going to be problematic. But hey, all right, okay. So we're back. All right. So all of that said, guys, um, all of that said, we are looking at yeah. So right now we have 6 wins, 3 of them against Division 2 opponents, and 3 against non-Division 2 opponents. Yeah. Um, so it's going to be interesting. We technically already have more wins than we did last year. We do. But as we look forward, it doesn't get any easier. I play on Elizabeth City State tomorrow, and then we welcome Virginia State. Shaw, who is 10-2, we got to go over Raleigh, got to take Claflin. Even in our good years, they're a tough matchup. Then we got Fayetteville State, then we got Smith, and then there's a lot. This team they got to get better fast. Um, they got to get better fast, or else it'll be looking like another quick trip to the CIAA for the men at least. So yeah, guys, but let me know what your thoughts. I mean, you guys have been letting me know in where we are, but you know, and we'll go ahead and have this conversation. I know a lot of people aren't gonna like it, but it is what it is, right? It's like I said back in it is like I said back in football season. We are in a results oriented business here when it comes to college athletics. Um, you know, this isn't education. Yep, the men's games are hard to watch. Um, and so we look at it. We're 4-2 at home right now, but again, 3 of those wins are against non-Division 1 teams, and we'll take them. But we look at the home record. We'll look at the home records of the last couple years. So 4-2 this year so far. 4-9 last year. So right now we are 8-11 in the Thompson era of basketball at home. 23-24, we had 1 loss. 20. You know what? Let's go back. So we'll go back to the Cleo Hill era. Again, he arrived on a 5-win team. They went in his first season, they went 6-5 at home. So they lost 5 home games that season. The next season, 11-4. So that puts us at 17-9 at home after those first 2 seasons. We didn't play that COVID year. But then after that, guys, we didn't lose a lot of home games. We were 10-0 in the 21-22 season with Javante Cook. We lost 2 at home, including one to Union in the 2022-2023 season where we won the championship. And then we only lost 1 last year. So I did the calculations, and in the Cleo Hill era, guys, we lost a total of 12 home games. 12, the whole era, the 5 years. Right now we're at 8-11, and I know people are gonna, last year was last year. Right now we got a winning record at home, but because this is a situation where I'm a Ram, but I also graduated with a degree in mass communications. I'm a journalist. Got to tell the truth. And right now, the numbers are where they are. This is year 2. We're looking to see improvement. We're 6-6 right now. And what is our record going to be when we finish? We got 12 more games, I think, guaranteed. And then we go into CIAA tournament. So, and we're talking about history, and history is definitely important, as we're going to see in our next discussion, because we're going to get to the women. And again, I'm sorry it's taking so long, but this is really in depth. I'm going to save this comment for later. And you know, we got to start seeing a turnaround. We got to start seeing some of these wins. Um, we talk about history. Our history with WSSU is that we are a winning program, especially in our men's basketball program. Our win percentage all time is 60%. Um, and the standard is the standard. Um, and so these guys are going to have to figure it out and quick. So with all of that said, let's get over to the women. Let's end this on a positive note. The WSSU Ram women have been doing absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Our first year head coach, Tierra Terry, um, she came in. She's coached at Virginia Union the last couple of years. And when Latanya Lamont retired or announced her retirement, I think most of us that watch CIAA basketball were expecting or hoping that we would get Coach Terry, that we'd be able to pry her away from Virginia Union. They had a 20-win season last year. They made it to the semifinals of the CIAA, and she's a Ram she's another one of those millennial Rams like myself, like Alonzo, like some of these folks. And so super excited to have her back home. And, so let's just kind of go through what we got so far with the women's basketball program. We see the 12-1. We'll get there, but how do we get there? Okay, we lost to Elon by 11, Division One team. We lost to NCAT, and yes, I am calling them NCAT. That's what I'm going to call them. Yes, and I know they hate it. That's why I'm calling them NCAT. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's fun to call them NCAT. So it is what it is. Sue me. No, don't sue me, but for sure. All right, guys. Sorry. Back in. All right. Um, down, but let me get that screen back up. Share this screen as we definitely make sure we talk about the Ram women. All right, so yeah, so we had a game against NCAT. We lost that game. All right, then we take on Converse, Division Two program, 101 to 67. USC Aiken, another B to A, 64-32. Concord, B to A as well, 89-63. Tough win at Barton. It looked like we were going to give that one away or it was going to be taken away from us, but we got the win. Then we had another one against Leeds McRae, another tough one on the road, but we went on the road. We stood 10 toes down and got that win. Let's see how Leeds McRae is doing. Let's see how Leeds McRae is doing in their women's basketball program, just so we can kind of get an idea of the type of teams that we've been beating. I did it with the men. It would be unfair to not do it with the women as well. Let's see. So they are 8-4 overall, 5-2 in their conference. So yeah, they're a solid team, right? They're no slouches. So we got that win. Let's see what Barton's or where Barton sits as well. I just want to give us an idea of the because I really want us to have an idea of the teams that we're beating and what that looks like. So they're 4-10, not great record, but hey, we got the win. They are Division Two. Let's see. See, we did Francis Marion. Have we done Francis Marion yet? Let me see about Francis Marion really quickly, where they are in terms of their record. Women's basketball for them. They're 7-6, right? So they are they're a middle of the road team. So um, yeah, our women have gotten some solid wins. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Dr. Anderson's right. Barton and Elise McCray, turning point wins for the team. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Lady Rams grew up quickly in that road stint, no doubt. And and we'll talk about this in a little bit. Obviously, we want to win the CIAA championship, something we've never done, and we definitely have the talent to do it. But we got to think bigger, right? We got to think big. We got to think NCAA's, and we can't get ahead of ourselves. We got to handle our business in the conference. But I mean, you look at it, we are 10. We are now 11-1 against 11-0 against Division II teams. And again, it's not going to be anything easy. The VSU game is going to be a tough one. I just saw VSU last night at Salisbury. They are a very good team. They got a first-year coach as well. Shaw's rebuilding under a new head coach, but they got to win. But beating Shaw and Raleigh is never a given, even if you're the better team. If you know, you know. Then you got to go to Claflin. Claflin likes to play us tough. They want to try to be our rivals. And then we got Fayetteville State. Last time we saw Fayetteville State, they beat us by 50. So, and they are the two-time defending champions. And we got to go to Fayetteville first. So that's going to be wild. I'm looking forward to that. We got Smith, always going to be a battle. And then Livingstone. And then it doesn't get any easier because then Coach Terry has to go back to her old stopping grounds at VUU. Then we get Fayetteville State again, then Claflin, Shaw, Smith, and Livingstone. So literally nothing to toy with. This team has been through the fire, but I'm gonna say right now, if they got 12 wins right now, if they get history says that if they get with what they did in the non-conference, if they can get 20 wins by the time we're in the CIAA tournament and make it to Friday, we're talking about potentially going to the NCAA tournament for I believe the first time in school history. I'd have to verify that. Which brings us to what we do know is historical, and that is this win streak. So Wednesday's game against Bluefield State, which came against one of our own as well. Shout out to Paul Davis, another Ram that was in school when I was in there, another millennial Ram. What he's doing with that basketball program, and we'll see what their record is. But they are, but yeah. So with that win, that was our 12th win in a row, guys. And that is a record for our women's basketball program. 7-6. So they are 7-6, even with the loss to us. They were 7-5 coming into that game. So another quality win. Just a second, guys. Let's see. Just another quality win there. And yeah. Let's see. Give me 2 seconds here to clear this off. But a quality win again. That was their 12th win in a row for the WSSU women. And once our winning streak got to 5, I started looking at where that win streak ranked historically, and it was pretty damn good. 5 wins was the longest win streak we had since 2010. And so I said, okay, 2010, when we came back into the CIAA, we no doubt about that. You can definitely tell that, and yeah, it is definitely evident that they believe in Coach Terry. But anyway, I got to 2010 and I was like, okay, they won 10 in a row, but I don't know that this is the record. Let me see what's what. So Unfortunately, the online records for WSSU athletics only go back to 2005 when they started putting them on WSSURams.com. And so, those are all the online records we have. But just so happens that earlier this year, when I was trying to put together some all-time records for the men's basketball team in terms of who they've played in series record, I reached out to Trevin Goodwin. He is the former sports information director who was here for quite a while. He's now the sports information director at Claflin, but I reached out to him and I wanted to see what the true WSSU record was, and I knew they did the last media guides back in the last decade. So he was gracious enough to send me the men's and women's copies, and so what I did was I took those copies and looked back at the. I took those copies and looked back at the all-time records, just to kind of see what we were looking at. And so let's see. Can I share this? Am I going to be able to share this file? Let's see. Okay, so let's see if I'll be able to share this. Let's see if I can share this. So yeah, shout out to him. I was able to find out our record book, and yeah, let's see. So yeah, because I felt like this is important information for sure. Yeah, so, and I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me know if you can. Yeah, so we're back to the records now. I knew, again, here is the streak from, yeah, so here's the streak in 2011, 2012 under head coach Stephen Joyner. So yeah, this is 10 in a row. And then they had a really good season that year before they lost to Johnson C. Smith. And then let's see. We also had, so then I knew here, this is that Division I era. It was kind of tough. But if we go back before that, we're looking at we're looking at the Deborah Clark era. So this season, 2000-2001, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-game winning streak. Was snapped at West Georgia, but then we went on to win 10, 11, 12, 13 of the first 14 games. So I thought that was a really big accomplishment. I was like, okay, but that still doesn't beat the 10. And then let's see what we're getting right here. They were headed to the playoffs before that loss to Smith. Yeah, that was actually during the period right before I started HBCU game day, and I kind of was a little disconnected. I had just graduated, so yeah. But here's where we find our streak. During the 1997-1998 season, we started off with a win at Bennett, who I believe no longer plays sports. Then we beat North Carolina A&T handily. And then we beat Elizabeth City State, Lock Haven, St. Aug, Livingstone, St. Paul's, Virginia State, Johnson C. Smith, Fayetteville State. We beat Shaw. We beat North Carolina Central. Then we had a 1-point slip up against St. Aug. Then we went on to beat JCSU. We went on to beat Livingstone. Yeah. So when you look at it, we actually had 12 wins in 13 games that time as well. So and then yeah, that was the peak of our women's basketball program at that point. So that was the peak of our women's basketball program at that point. So all that to say, um, yeah. So I said, okay, 12 is the record. So now we know, and the records go all the way back to 81, 82. So shout out to Trevin for getting me that information, and I was able to piece it together. So super happy about that. Um, Oh, okay, Dr. Anderson, okay. So yeah, so now we know that tomorrow, Saturday, is our next game. It's against Elizabeth City State University. Now, I put out a tweet earlier this week. Got a little controversy. It kind of got the people going. Um, so basically, and we're talking about national rankings. And when we're talking about national rankings, those are voted on by the coaches. There is an association called the WBCA, the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. And so what happens is they have to do the voting. And so every conference has a representative. And so the representative for the CIAA is Elizabeth City State head coach Ebony Tanner. And so we were not ranked previously. And then I saw we weren't ranked this year. I wish you guys could see me. I saw we weren't ranked this year, but this week, and I was like, man, there's no way. And then we weren't listed in the receiving votes category. So I'm like, there's no way we're not receiving votes. I'm like, we're not even getting votes from our own conference. What is that about? Like, come on now. Let's not play these Ram games, Stop playing with us. But so that motivated me, and I said, okay, you know what? I made some tweets about that, and I wasn't too happy about it. So here's what I said. Here's what we got.
They mad when they see me. They really do. It don't make no sense. Why you gotta do so much? Why y'all do so little? What y'all thought it was gonna be? What y'all thought it was about to be?
Let me see this.
So I always be able to talk. Really be mad when they see me. They really do. It don't make no sense. Why you gotta do so much? Why y'all do so little? What y'all thought it was gonna be? What y'all thought it was about to be? It's gonna always be the most. It's gonna always be able to talk. It's gonna always be extra. It's gonna always be amazing. It's gonna always be the best you done ever seen.
So yeah, I had a little fun with that. I did find out later though that well, there's that part. The athletic department, I don't know, maybe this is one of the things that fall through the cracks when you're in transition, but Deborah Clark era for sure. Shout out to everybody who's been involved in that. She had some really great teams. Record keeping is important, guys. Record keeping, stats, and promotion. I don't think that we promoted enough that we have a 12-game winning streak now. Or I don't think we promoted it enough. That should be in everything that we do. That's just my opinion, though. So I'm doing what I can to promote that. And I'm hopeful that moving forward we'll do more to promote that. That is one of my things that I feel like the next AD is going to have to really clamp down on is a lot more promotional of the product that we have. We have a great product, especially what our women are doing right now. Just absolutely amazing. And I will say that with that, it's just been fun following them. I had the privilege of Well, let's say this. So after every game, I like to try to talk to the coaches. We don't have a press conference right now. I hope that one day we could get one where it would be easy to do. But in the meantime, in between times, I have to kind of go back down and catch the coaches. So I, let them talk to their team. I try to be as non-intrusive as possible, even though it slows me down. But I feel like it's important that WSSU Ram Nation, as well as HBCU Game Day, hears from our coaches, specifically when they're doing really well. With that said, I was waiting back there and got a chance to be privy to this. So let's see that. AD Burns winning the meeting. Give the camera right there. Second.
I can't wait to see y'all in your shoes. I'm wearing everything. You know what? Good. Keep up the good work. Enjoy yourselves. We all out there rooting for you, and we love it. Number 13. Number 13 on the way. No, you told them 110 and they would get.
Oh, if they went 10-1, then we would get them all new shoes. That's what they wanted, the Under Armour jogger type shoe. So, hey, they went 10-1. We still on the road. So, hey, we delivered on the promise, and we on to the next. Looking forward to the next win.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, guys. So that was a little bit inside. I got the inside scoop for you. I just think it's important to have moments like that captured in the show. That WSSU is rewarding our student athletes. That's Makayla Waleed. She came in from Temple. And she has been really great for them. Just super excited about what she's bringing to the table, as well as obviously Maya Charles and Akia Pai. Let's hear from head coach Terry a little bit. Hey, Coach Terry. I guess kind of the game you envision when you have a player like her.
Yeah, she's
We're talking about Maya Charles here. So just keep that in mind here.
I try to just teach humility at all times, because even though you've done something, you can always do better, in my opinion. But player of the week last week, so we challenged her because it's the first player of the week we've gotten in, now, we've played 13, but that was the first player of the week in 12 games, and that's how hard it is to do in this conference. So for her to put up these numbers against the conference opponent as the player of the week last week, I would say that's pretty impressive. 14 for 19 from the field is good for anybody. So she showed that, she was ready to play today.
Yeah, no doubt. And then obviously, you another Northern Division foe in Elizabeth City coming in here next. Obviously, you coached against Coach Tanner and her teams, and you know what that's like. Just talk about, what you guys have going, the momentum, and, how you guys continue to plug away at these game by game.
Yeah, Coach Tanner, a phenomenal person, phenomenal coach. Just another personal game, because, as we know, James DeGose was here before when I was here, so he, picks at me all the time. But, it's going to be a tough competitive game. I'm sure that Karina Scott will come in with a personal chip on her shoulder. And I understand that because, when you've been somewhere and you come back, you want to prove yourself. So I understand it. I get it. I like, people's fire in that regard. But we just have to prepare and do what we need to do. It's going to be a hard game. It's, it is what it is. It's going to be a hard game. It's going to be, who makes it to the end, executes the best, and just comes out and plays with the most heart, because every team that she's coached, she has coached them tough. And, we've always had a back and forth battle. So fun games to watch. But yeah, we have to come in here and execute the game plan.
Yeah, and last two questions, I'll get you out of here. It's the students haven't gotten back yet, but a good crowd, a really good crowd in here I felt tonight, in the middle of the week. What did I just say about, not only the fans, but the work that you guys are doing, and, the excitement as we get ready for the students to come back.
Yeah, the students coming back brings an even bigger atmosphere. So I'm glad that our players have shown that, the crowd is good for us. The engagement, I think we feed off each other anyway, but the positive energy, the Ramley coming together, it just takes us up a notch, honestly, because they enjoy playing in front of everyone, because people are excited to watch them play. This has nothing to do with me. They're excited to see them play, and I thank God that He's gotten us this far. And, I pray that we continue to play with this much passion and fire and keep the streak alive.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wasn't going to mention the streak, but since you did, you guys have tied the all-time streak. So we'll see about Saturday. But lastly, you guys got rewarded. Talk about that a little bit, and just, what that means for. All right, guys. So you can catch the rest of that. In on HBCU game day. But we definitely, before we get out of here, this is running a lot longer than I thought. But thank you guys so much for going with me, especially through all the different technical difficulties and everything. But we cannot get out of here without just really singing the praises of Maya Charles. The whole team has been doing great. We saw Michaela Walid, that Dr. Anderson mentioned, super talented, transfer from Temple. Also Akia Pai, who came over with Coach Terry from Virginia Union. One of the great things about hiring somebody that's already kind of coaching at this level, that can always them being able to get people, and just to see the fact that Maya Charles, who was the CIAA Rookie of the Year last year, to see the fact that she was willing to follow Coach Terry down to North Carolina says a lot about Coach Terry. Also, as was mentioned, Jakaya Mack, super proud of that young lady. Just, being able to watch her career over these last couple of years. She was a player that always, she had the talent, like she had the physical attributes, and there were moments where she showed really that she could be a force in this league. But the way that she has come together under Coach Terry, she's the only starter or only player. She's the only player that's really getting some significant minutes from the previous squad, and she's making the most of them. We will just we'll just pull up the stats really quick before I get out of here. Let's see if I can. It will allow me to do this. All right. So, yeah. Talk about Jakaya Mack. Her numbers. She's got a couple games in double figures, but really the thing to pay attention with her is the steals. Right now, if we look at so far through 13 games, she has 33 steals. She's not credited with any blocks, but she's so long, it just really makes it hard to defend, go against her. And she's tenacious on defense. And, so I think her experience is going to be key. Akaya Pai, for some reason, there's two entries right here. But, but she's been a really good player. So I don't know if you put these together. Maybe she's averaging 10 points a game. Okay. Michaela Walid. we do know her. She is a Temple transfer. 11 points against Converse, 19 against UNC Aiken, 11, 21 again that Bowie State win, 14 against Ferrum. She is someone who could put the ball in the bucket. So super excited about her. And then, of course, Maya Charles. What can you say? She's leading the team in scoring at just under 16 points per game. She's averaging 9 boards a game. She has blocked. She's credited with 28 blocks, but I'm pretty sure she has more than that. Anyway, it goes. She's also got 27 steals. So she's averaging 2 blocks and 2 steals a game, along with 16 points, 9 boards a game, 51% from the field, shooting 73% from the free throw line. We are seeing a really great season from her. As Alonzo says, Mac's confidence is higher, and she's the only starter from last year that's still in the starting 5. Mac didn't get discouraged. Yep. Maya Charles, a CIAA play, 25, 15, 5, 6, 8, 1, 3, and then 30, 11, and 7 against Bluefield State. Yeah, CIAA. We have 3 CIAA wins. Anyway. In conference, 2011, 4.3 shooting. I mean, just crazy splits. Yeah, no doubt. So, so excited for these young ladies. Just to be able to watch them from afar and then up close during the games. They really come together as a team. They really have rallied around Coach, and it's going to be fascinating to see where they go from here. I'm really excited to be able to watch it all unfold. Guys, this has been a super long stream. We're almost 2 hours. I did not anticipate this going for this long. I mean, I also didn't anticipate you not seeing me. But it is what it is. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, that has tuned in however long they did. Major shout out to Dr. Carolyn Anderson, who's always there supporting. And then also future Dr. Alonzo Turner, who is finishing up his doctorate, who's always, me and him talk about every game after the game. So happy to have him. Shout out to everybody else who joined on the stream. Hopefully you guys get a chance to watch back and listen to this. Thank you guys so much for supporting HBCU Game Day and at WSSU Ram Nation. Tell somebody about this channel, this YouTube channel, as we look to get more people involved. And let's make it a hostile environment tomorrow. Like, let's just make it a hostile environment. Like, I know we're Rams, I know HBCU and all of that good stuff. I know CIAA, your love, and CIAA unity and all that stuff, but let's make it a hostile environment. Let's have some fun. Let's have some Ram fun. Let's clap our hands. Let's stomp our feet. Let's be loud. And let's just make it a fun environment as we're watching history being made in front of us. So I'll be there tomorrow. Look to see you guys as well. And WSSU Ram Nation, this is SJG signing off. I'm going to give you something to eat. I'm tired. All right, catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Peace.